Hey, this is Joe from Home Studio Corner, and this video kicks off a series on getting it right at the source. I've talked about get it right at the source since I started Home Studio Corner back in 2009. How you can't expect to get a good mix if you don't start with a good recording. And if you have mixing problems, there's a good chance a lot of those problems are recording problems, production problems, not mixing problems. If you want better mixes, work on getting better recordings, and the mixes will kind of take care of themselves. However, while I've hammered that point home for over a decade, I haven't done a good job of giving you examples of how to get it right at the source. So I have collected a bunch of ideas that I use when I work on music, and I'm going to put them into this series to hopefully help you have a much better understanding of how to get it right at the source. So, story time. I was producing an EP a few years ago for a friend. I think it was a 5-song EP, and the theme of the EP itself was pretty heavy. It was around grief, loss of a loved one. We did pre-production on the songs. We recorded some scratch tracks to a click track, took those to my drummer friend's studio, and he tracked the drums. Then we came back to my studio a week or so later to start doing things like recording bass and guitars and building up the production. So we're in the studio and we're doing bass and guitars, and we realize on this one song something's just not quite right. All the songs on the EP were pretty heavy, but there was this song that was in the key of E, and it got to the chorus, and the first line of the chorus is, "I'm not okay." And this is how, when we were sitting down, listening down to the drums, getting ready to record, we had maybe even recorded a few takes at this point, and we get to the chorus and it sounds like this. "Oh, I am not okay, but I wouldn't have it any other way." And it hit me in that moment that this just sounds too happy. The song is about being not okay. But we're singing it over this nice, beautiful E major chord, and it just hit me as that's just not right. So we messed with it a little bit, and we made really just one change to the chorus, completely captured the vibe we were going for. And that change was, instead of playing the E major, we played a C sharp minor. So if you're a theory person, you like numbers, instead of playing 1 to 4, we played 6 minor to 4. Completely changed the vibe of the chorus, and things really just started to take off. Once we did that, it was like this song went from being one we weren't sure about to one we were like, yeah, this is great. So that chorus went from sounding like this, "Oh, I am not okay," to sounding like this, "Oh, I am not okay." You hear that one change, going to that C sharp minor, that 6 minor to kick off the chorus, completely gives it the darkness and the feel that it needs. Now, there are times in producing where maybe you make really happy music and really sad lyrics, and there's kind of an irony to it. And maybe there's a place for that. I'm sure there is. Or maybe the vice versa. The music is really sad, but the content is actually very happy. But generally speaking, I tend to try to make the music match what I'm singing or what the artist is singing, and that tends to work pretty well, I would say 9 times out of 10. So this was one of those instances where a big, happy, open E chord just didn't have didn't evoke the emotion that I wanted out of the song. Let's do it without the lyric this time. So just listening to this, which of these do you think is happier? Or right? When you go to that minor, it just darkens things up. Now, this is simple chord progression stuff, but it may not be something that you're thinking about when you're producing. Either you kind of fall into one of two camps. Either you're working on your own song and you're so locked into the way you've always done it that you don't think to change it, or you're recording someone else's song and you don't think perhaps that you have the right to speak into the chord progression. You absolutely do. I'm sure there are people who would be offended by that, but for the most part, people that I've worked with are always open to suggestions. I'm open to suggestions when I'm the artist recording with someone else, and they say, "Hey, could you just try a different chord on the downbeat of that chorus? I just want to hear what it sounds like." And if it's actually the right decision for the song, they will say, "Okay, we'll try it. Just make it very simple. Let's just try that. We'll play it. Not okay." And they'll say, "Oh man, that's exactly it. That's what the song needs." That happens more times than you would think. So don't be afraid to insert yourself into the conversation. And if you're not a musician, you don't play an instrument, and you're not super comfortable with chords and substituting one chord for another, that might be something that's worth diving into and studying and learning so that you can bring an extra level of value to the table when you do work with other people in the studio. So you can say, hey, try this chord over that chord, see if that works better. Now, with great power comes great responsibility, but there are situations where that is the exact thing to do. And it should be noted that it wasn't like I was doing this on every song, changing the chords up willy-nilly. On that entire 5-song EP, I think this was the only place where I made any changes to the song. So it's a thing you season sparingly, but it's good to have in your back pocket because it could be the exact thing that the song needs. If you like videos like this, leave a comment, let me know. I need feedback from you. Hit the like button, do all those things so that I can see that this is something that resonates with you, and I will continue to make more of these. If you'd like my free guide on it's a little bit about how to get it right at the source, talks about a lot of these concepts, you can have my recording cheat sheet for free. Just go to recordingcheatsheet.com. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.